Hi, I'm Chris Clark, Artistic Director of Cinema St. Louis, proud presenters of the 30th Annual Whitaker St. Louis International Film Festival. I'm in Zoom Studio U City. I'm sitting here in the Tivoli Theater to talk to guest director Hunter Hopewell and his film Shellfish. For a little grounding, Shellfish one of 5 competition films in our annual New Filmmakers Forum Emerging Directors Competition. I don't remember the exact number, but this in the early 20s, how many years we've done it. The New Filmmakers Forum was originated by a former board member and godmother to everyone, Bobby Lautenschlager, who died a number of years ago. But we kept the tradition going, and we've named the award for this competition the Bobby. So films for this competition, these are filmmakers of tomorrow. This is their first feature film. So, you know, there may not be big names yet, and probably are not. Maybe they've made shorts, maybe they've made documentaries. Most of these films come to us through the open submission process. This year we had about 230 or so narrative features, from which we ultimately selected 29 for the festival, 5 of those being part of the New Filmmakers Forum. And as a programmer, I love the big slashy studio titles and things that we get with big stars like Kenneth Branagh and Tilda Swinton and stuff like that, are the tent poles and prop everything up. But it's this discovery of things like this that really make it super fun. So hi, Hunter. Thanks for joining us today. And as we remarked earlier in the green room before we started, that is a location from your film that you're sitting on the beach there. And your film is a film about filmmaking. If people that know me know that one of the things I say the most often is I hate films about filmmaking because it seems a cheat, and most often they're terrible. The only one that really I think qualifies is The Player, but that's a whole different scenario altogether. But this one stood out because it was so unique and charming and animated elements and lots of stuff. Most of the people watching this will have seen the film already, but maybe some haven't. We don't care if there's any spoilers though. So this is a film about you, maybe it's you, maybe it's just a character you created, young filmmaker and his brother who want more than anything else to be filmmakers. And I assume that was, at least that part of it was you. So, let's start there. How much of this was a young Hunter wannabe filmmaker that turned into young adult Hunter that did make this film?
Well, Chris, thank you, and I'm very happy to be part of your festival. Honored, actually. You're kind of right on the money there. I mean, it is autobiographical in a way. I'm an only child, though. Never had any siblings, but it's each sibling kind of represents part of me. Like different parts of my personality. But yeah, always wanted to make films since I was very young, like Keller and Bailey and Shellfish. And yeah.
And there were, besides the delightful stop motion animation elements, which was that something that you played with growing up? Stop motion animation?
The very first things I made when I was probably like 9 or 10 years old were all stop motion stuff, because stop motion's very solitary art form where it's usually 1 or 2 people working on it at a time. And that certainly was the case for Shellfish, as opposed to the live action stuff we shot, which was a crew of like 40 to 50 people, because that's what you need. So yeah, starting out, a lot of stop motion stuff. And so this was kind of like getting back to my roots in a way.
Crabs are an important element to the film. Is that, was that one of your creatures you started with back in the day, or just seemed like a fun little under the sea kind of creature to play with for your?
Well, personally, I can't stand the taste of seafood, shellfish especially. I know, ridiculous, because my character is eating crab, and that was, I had to eat so much crab to, you know how it is when you're shooting a 2-minute scene. It takes 3 hours to shoot. So I don't know why I wrote that in there, but I don't know why I did that to myself. No, didn't start with crabs when I was a kid, but when I was trying to think of the title of the movie, I kind of had the premise written, and it was all under a completely different title. And then I wanted something, I really like one word titles. And then when I was thinking, it came more from thinking of like, I wanted it to be about this character and his arc. And Keller ultimately needs to learn to become less selfless. And I was like, oh, shellfish. That's kind of funny. Shellfish, selfish. There were already scenes at the beach, but then I was like, oh, I can now interweave more of these nautical things into the script and make it all cohesive under that new Shellfish title.
I had a suspicion that might have all connected in that way, because the, big parts of the story take place in Las Vegas, which does not have an ocean. At least last time I checked. So, there was a driving back forth. There was a disconnect of that. You're not going to, you guys should go to a crab buffet at one of the casinos, but that would have been a different movie altogether. But, that was, the animation was one thing I really enjoyed, and the quirky but endearing family dynamic between the story arc of your brother Bailey, the character's brother Bailey, who, it took 2/3 or more of the way before we really got the full backstory and what happened to your other brother. I thought maybe, like in sitcoms, the older sibling goes upstairs and never comes back. I thought, well, you just stopped talking about him. The mom and dad and the interesting career dad had, and Bailey's non-speech, was left unchecked. And I just thought he was quiet at first, and then it kind of dawned on me that he's not talking, and nobody seemed to mind or care, and everybody seemed to understand except for the viewer. But I assumed that later we would find out, and we did in a somber turn of events that kind of explained a lot of the things. And I hope this isn't too big of a spoiler, but in the end, you didn't achieve the goal and didn't really make what you wanted, but everything was still okay, and that made a difference. So in these filmmaker films where they go, dodge all the way, I'm going to Sundance, and they go through all these quirky endeavors and then do it out of nowhere. Well, that's kind of a false note in a way. That's not real. But yours felt more real.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to speak to a couple of things there. And you have no idea how gratifying it feels to hear you say these things that like, oh, he gets it. Like, you totally get it. Sounds like you get why Bailey wasn't talking, because we've done several screenings now, and in earlier screenings I'm talking to people afterwards, and they didn't even know the three characters were brothers. And I'm like, oh, so I've like put a lot of work in to make that as crystal clear as I could. So thank you for saying all that. Talking about the ending. Yeah, we actually shot a different ending originally, which was a little more kind of like you're saying, like those other films, a little maybe sappier, for lack of a better word, like a little too perfect. And then as we're shooting it, I'm just like, this is wrong. And it's not really the message I want to send. It can't be just, Keller's selfish and then all this stuff comes to him. He has to sacrifice something to go get the girl. And that's, it's all about what's more important, your work or the people you're doing the work with. And I think Keller, that's his arc. He kind of realizes that, it's these people that really matter.
Besides yourself. And, that's another thing too. You're also the star in addition to being the director and writer. So that's a lot of hyphenates. And those, with first-time filmmakers, sometimes that makes me very nervous and suspicious that something's going to break under the weight of all that pressure. And it doesn't always work. In fact, most of the times it does not, no matter what people say, it just doesn't. But you made it work, and it was fun.
Thank you.
The natural interplay between your two leads, Bailey and Harper. Are these people that you knew before? It seemed pretty natural to me. Are these people you worked with or knew before?
Most of the people, I went to school at UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and they're mostly people I went to school with. But Had not really worked with any of them before. Barely knew Bailey at all. I mean, we're close friends now, but and he's the actor is actually 4 or 5 years older than me, if you can believe that. So yeah, and then like yeah, almost nobody I had worked with before, which was a big leap of faith for them and for me, because you know, like we all knew of each other, but it's like, oh, who's this guy? He's putting himself in a thing that he wrote and directed. So yeah, there's always I'm wary of that too when I see something that is like written, directed, and acted by this guy. So I tried to be very conscious of that, just kind of approach it head on. And I like characters who are at the end of their rope and who nobody likes and who's just trying to make it through life the best they can. And that's kind of the character I wanted to portray.
I hope that particular element isn't necessarily biographical, that people don't like you. I can't imagine. I can't imagine such a thing. So
no, I mean, I think at times we all kind of feel that way. We sneeze and no one says God bless you, one of those.
Yeah, they just done for the other person, but everyone was tired of Keller's mania and coming late and
Yep.
centering around him and big grand ideas that didn't always pan out.
Sure.
I liked everybody, and the mom's anger seemed real. And,
oh, good. Yeah, that was my friend since 8th grade. My friend since 8th grade, her parents play my parents in the movie. So
for those that don't know that, I see you're showing your team colors. Your day job is actually on your shirt. You work
Yes.
for Walt Disney.
I do.
What do you do for
I'm a video producer over there, which I do a lot of their online content, and I do a lot of narration work for them as well. What was cool is that one day that we were filming on the beach here at Leo Carrillo in Malibu, my boss and like a bunch of other coworkers showed up unexpectedly because I had to get like 4 weeks unpaid off of work to shoot this movie, and they all showed up. I'd only been working there for a year, and it was a really like the meeting of two worlds, kind of surreal experience. Yeah.
Did you hand them a boom and put them to work?
No, they offered. They
okay.
Totally
well, that's great.
They've all seen the movie. We were filming the scene when Kruko and Angela are making out on the beach, and we're all like, don't worry, it's not that kind of movie. This is like it was like the raunchiest scene in a otherwise pretty PG a movie. But yeah, I've had a lot of great opportunities there. I actually just assistant directed a feature documentary that's going on Disney Plus this month. So check it out.
Are you allowed to tell us what it's called?
Yeah, it's called Adventure Through the Walt Disney Archives.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
I'm a Disney Plus watcher. I watch it all the time.
Oh, great.
Various, all the shows and movies and stuff. So I'll be looking.
Awesome.
For that. So is that what you've just finished that? What else are you working on?
Yeah, thanks. I and still like we're still doing screenings of Shellfish, and I still see stuff that I missed before. I'm like, oh, I got to fix that, or I'll talk to the audience members. So nothing, art is never finished. But I'm working on my next feature now. The screenplay is almost done. And it's Shellfish is like maybe, I don't know, 10% stop motion, 90% live action. And this one's going to be more like 30%, 70%, 70% live action. So yeah, working on another feature, doing a few shorts, and working for Disney.
That's, sounds like you have a pretty fun life there, mister.
Thank you. Likewise.
So you said, Shellfish has had, you said some screenings and festival screenings. Where is St. Louis? Are we on the path? Are we towards the middle and in the end? What's the path of it? Where's it going next?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, you guys, you're in towards the middle.
Okay,
which is great. And again, honored to be part of this festival. We had our big premiere was at in person at the Chinese Theater in Los Angeles.
Outstanding.
And, isn't that so cool? I was
yes.
so excited. And I invited as many people as I could. A lot of distribution people showed up, and we got like 3 or 4 offers from people to distribute the movie. So now we're just trying to I'm trying to see if I have any contacts at Disney that can maybe help get this movie in front of more people. But in the meantime, we have it'll be streaming somewhere at some point. So
Yeah, when that we like to let people know via our newsletter or thing,
oh,
our
great.
organizational newsletter when things like that, when alums, things are available. And this is something I think people would gravitate towards and have fun with. So, when that
Yeah.
does happen, let us know. But the Grauman's Chinese Theater, that's amazing. I went to AFI Fest twice and they put me up in the Roosevelt across the street.
Yep.
And we went to parties up in the Marilyn Monroe suite upstairs. But I went to see a screening there. And having never been, it was pretty cool being in that space. You hear
I
about
had
it
never
and
been
see it.
either.
Yeah, you hear about and see about it, for the big huge premieres back in the 40s and 50s in the back of the
Yep.
day. So I've seen it so many times, but walking up and walking on an actual red carpet and walking in the door was pretty special. I think
It's
it was fun.
surreal. It is very cool. Yep.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm glad I learned that I was right about some things and wrong about some things, and the clever interplay of the title, and you're having a pretty fun year, and hopefully we'll all be back in theaters soon. I'm glad you
Yeah.
caught it under the right before it wasn't. Last year
Yeah.
we were entirely virtual and I was pretty miserable.
Oh yeah, we like I said, when we reshot the ending, we reshot it in the middle of March of 2020, not knowing that the next week all this pandemic stuff would be going down. So we finished filming right under the wire. For
Yeah,
sure.
at least you got it done, or that would have been killer. Or you could have accomplished it, but it would have been a lot more stressful, a lot different.
Right.
And then you had plenty of time because you're stuck at home to play
To
with
edit.
it and
Yeah.
shine it up and
Yep.
dig out the sand and all those things. All right. Well, I think this has been great chat. Thank you for spending part of your time with us talking about your film. It's always good in these circumstances to finally connect a face, even though I've seen your face, in the film. But normally we have this event in this competition live. So you would have been here. We have ridiculous parties and Batman-like mansions and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, great.
But next time, you're working on your next film. So now you're an alum. So, don't forget about your friends in St. Louis.
I definitely won't. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank
and
you.
You can ask me you don't have to pay for submission fees anymore either, because you're
Oh, great.
now you're on the special list.
Awesome. Well,
Okay.
thank you, Chris. That's great.
Well, once again, I'm Chris Clark, Artistic Director of Cinema St. Louis, and this is Hunter Hopewell, the director of Shellfish, part of the New Filmmakers Forum Emerging Directors Competition for this year's festival, and Filmmaker of Tomorrow.
Thanks.
Thanks very much.